G'day and welcome to the Hunting Connection podcast. My name is Zach Williams and I am your host. Here we'll connect you with hunters, fishers and outdoor enthusiasts from around the globe. This podcast will share hunting and fishing stories, including past experiences, and tackle the tough hunting stereotypes our community faces. We hope to be a positive influence to those outside the community while also having a laugh along the way. Hope you enjoy the podcast. G'day and welcome to another episode of Hunting Connection podcast. We have hit episode 100, including some of the bonus episodes we've done and short episodes on the bow hunting ban in South Australia, but we're calling this the 100th episode, and I couldn't think of a better way to celebrate it than have two of my absolutely favourite people in the outdoor community on. We have Carly from the Victorians Against the Great Forest National Park page, and we have Marcus, aka Oz Camper from Bush Culture. How are you guys going?
I'm fabulous. Just fantastic.
I can really tell there's so much enthusiasm in your voice. I love it.
I am. I'm so excited. This is fun.
Yeah, going good, Zach. Going good, brother. Busy, flat out, but going pretty well otherwise.
That's good. Yeah, it's been a busy year for us all, some of us have made national headlines, which we'll chat about afterwards, but it's it's been a crazy year and it's been awesome. I put you guys in contact probably just over a year ago or just under a year ago, not maybe just after Carly was on last time, and you guys are doing some incredible stuff together, and everything that you put out, Marcus, is awesome, from your, spooky stories to, just everything that you do is absolutely awesome. And then Carly's non-stop campaigning for the outdoor recreational, communities is just fucking awesome. Like, the passion.
It came out of nowhere.
Well, like we discussed last podcast, you have really no background in hunting, fishing, camping. I think you went camping not long ago and you had an amazing experience.
Yeah, apart from the people. If the people weren't there, it'd be fine. It'd be amazing.
That's why you go deeper into the bush.
Yeah, 4-wheel drive, mate. You got to get off.
Yeah. Come on. Someone give me I need a sponsor. I need some sponsorships, and someone's going to give me a nice big ute.
We'll get Elon to send you a Cybertruck.
I don't want one of those things. No thanks.
Oh, it'll piss off all the people that are already pissed off at you, so got to keep that up.
They'll think I'm one of them.
No, they're all against Tesla now. They hate Tesla. They hate Elon.
Yeah, but they still love their EVs.
I heard on Rogan the other day they're putting Hyundai badges and stuff on the Teslas now, and Tesla owner before Elon was a prick and all of those stickers.
I love the fact that the left are literally burning their Teslas. Like, that is just hilarious. Like, I saw a meme the other day and it was like, with the Nazi camps, and it's like one of the officers saying, "You're hiding a Tesla, aren't you?" I'm like, that's amazing.
Oh, it just shows you the mentality of these people.
They're psychos. They're 100%. It's like they're. I say it every. I think I just said it on my podcast today. It's a cult. It is literally a cult.
That's something I don't have in my notes, and something that's changed since last time you were on. You have a podcast now. What's it called?
You were the first podcast I ever went on, and I was so scared. So I have my own podcast now. We're up to episode 12.
Amazing.
It's called Forests and Freedoms Podcast. And, so we talk about, a little bit of forest stuff, a little bit of political stuff to do with freedom, a lot of political stuff about freedoms, because I've turned into a politics nerd, because I just cannot believe what is happening to this country. and I had no idea. So now I'm like full blown politics nerd.
I dare say we'll see Carly running a political party soon.
Oh, I'm aiming for that Senate. I'm getting in that Senate. I just got to make sure it's got to be the right time, because I can do more from the outside at the moment than I can from inside politics, because it's just so messy. It's just a circus at the moment.
I'm pretty sure I have on soundbite somewhere that you were never getting into politics and you were never going to be Prime Minister of Australia. So
it's hilarious looking back on like when I first started the group against this national park. I was having a go at people, yelling at people for bringing up politics, because I said this has nothing to do with politics. There's no way we're talking about politics. I'm never getting into politics. Don't talk about politics. And now it's all political. Like, I had no idea about all the the UN like agreements, the 30 by 30, everything like that. It's all connected to politics, and I'm like, now I'm just obsessed with politics.
Yeah, I'm not at that obsessed stage yet. I still hate politics with a passion, but
I hate it, but I'm obsessed.
I'm slowly learning more and more. I've had a couple meetings with different politicians now. I've had a few on the podcast. I'm helping, trying to help politicians get into into the
have to
ballot.
help the good ones. That's what's so important is identifying these good ones and helping them, because they're being weeded out slowly, and we have to get more in.
Yeah, that's the hard bit, because Labor is a huge issue in South Australia. Like that, that's who banned bow hunting. But I actually had a meeting with a federal Labor member a couple months ago, and one-on-one, personal, awesome bloke, loves hunting, loves shooting, grew up hunting, shooting, ex-military, and
they're the worst ones. They're the ones that stand by their party lines. They won't cross the floor. They're weak.
See, this guy's. Well, I haven't followed up if he has, but he said all the right things as politicians do. But he was, when he found out about, because he's federal and not state, he was actually disgusted about a lot of the culling stuff that I was telling him about the bow hunting ban. He was just mind boggled how it even passed, and
that infuriates me, because the federal level are the ones who signed us up to these globalist agreements. Anyway.
We got Carly going. It's good.
I think I've said about 4 times in the last week, don't trust a politician. Don't trust any politician.
I don't trust anyone.
No, people always ask. They say Labor or Liberal. I'm like, they're both crooked. They're all crooked. Don't trust any of them. The people. Focus on the people. That's who you need. Yeah. That's who you should be banding with. Join forces with the people and see how much actually gets moving in this country.
And there's good ones in different parties. Like they're like all Liberal aren't bad. Like there are some really good Liberals. There's some really good Nats. There's some apparently there's some good Labor, but they toe the party lines and they won't cross the floor. So you got like Alex Antic, he'll cross the floor. Matt Canavan, you've got some really good ones that will stand up for things and will cross the floor when they don't agree with the party lines. But I've never seen it in Labor. Never.
Yeah, it's a hard one, but politics are just messy and horrible, and
it's literally like because I'm watching so much of the Senate and and Victorian government as well, to try and keep on top of all these attacks that we've got on public land access and everything. So I try and keep up to date with what they do, and I just see so much infighting, and it's just like a circus. It's literally watching Home and Away. Like it's like a reality TV show.
Oh, it's disgusting when you see the clips online of the different houses fighting, and these spastics just going on these rants and screaming and yelling and
it is
doing all this
so
weird shit.
It's embarrassing.
Well, let's jump back for a minute away from politics. For the new listeners who don't know who you guys are, we'll jump in it. Marcus, who are you? What's your background? And what do you do?
In the last 6 months, I've had a huge shift in content. Planned it, strategically planned it to a point where I'm happy now. But 4-wheel driving, camping, fishing, that was my crux. Outdoor adventure, that's, we grew up just outside the Macedon Ranges on acreage out there. I came from a family of horse breeders. So absolutely love the great outdoors. And we didn't have much in our small town. We didn't have much to do other than get outdoors and start adventuring. Our town was probably, if you go back now, it's not so rural, but it was a very rural town where we grew up. So I've loved the great outdoors for as long as I can remember. So I started up on TikTok, I want to say maybe a year and a half ago. I've been on the app and then started moving my way around Instagram and everything. And so I started just trying to get new eyes into the scene, into the great outdoors, getting into 4-wheel driving and camping. And since then, there's so many amazing 4-wheel driving content creators, camping content creators out there. I sort of sat back. One day I made a video, just a scary campfire story, which is, I froth that shit. I love having a couple of beers around a campfire. And then you drop some crazy stories that you've either experienced or heard from your mate. And that video went massive. It blew up. So I continued on that tangent of I'll throw in a campfire story once a week, something like that. And then that sort of amalgamated into this massive thing where everyone's going, that's the fucking campfire story guy. If I go anywhere out of Victoria and people recognize me, they're going, dude, I heard that story you told. If I'm at a rodeo and I'm riding a bull for the first time, people are coming up to me not because of the bull ride. They're going, dude, I fucking seen you tell that scary story, eh? People love it. So I sort of made that bit of a shift as well, where I'm like, all right, let's start getting into some Aussie storytelling. And the reason I did that, I just sort of thought there's so many better pages out there that are more established in 4-wheel driving, fishing, camping. And to stand out, you need to have your own niche. You need to do your own thing. And I'm sort of sitting back going, well, no one's doing this. No one's actually getting into 4-wheel drive and going to these fucking scary places or telling these stories that people haven't heard. And that sort of formed my channel now to where it is. And, when you start content, people always say you actually won't know what you're going to dive into until 12 months, 18 months down the line after you've made 1,000 videos. Then you start to go, all right, here's my niche. And I think that's sort of my niche, bringing people into the great outdoors through fucking scaring them about the great outdoors. It's such a weird concept. People love it.
That's amazing.
So you're like Australia's Mr. Ballin now.
Every single person on every video, people go, this is the Aussie Mr. Ballin. And I'm like,
yeah. I love that dude.
Well, I feel left out because I don't know who he is.
He was a Navy SEAL in America, and when he finished up his tour, he got discharged because of an injury. And he used to just tell his old war stories, and then he started to shift that to telling creepy, scary stories. And now he's got 20 million subscribers on YouTube. He's everywhere. He's got his own brand, Ballin Productions. My goal is to get into Ballin Productions and get a bit of a taste of Australia in there. Amazing. That's the goal, to end up in Ballin Productions. But to do that, I need to start making long-form content, which I absolutely hate doing, but I'm knuckling down and I'm doing it.
Actually, was he on a podcast recently?
You may have seen him if you watch Steve-O's podcast. He was on that.
Yeah,
he does a lot of podcasts.
It rings a bell. Military guy going into telling stories. So maybe I did listen to a podcast on him recently. But this story that blew up and got you changing direction, was that the Button Man story, was it?
That was the Button Man story. That was the amount of people that had never heard of Alex before. Baffled me. Absolutely baffled me. I remember when I put it out, I didn't have any content that day. I think we weren't going 4-wheel driving, and I'm like, hey, has anyone heard of this story? We all knew about him.
Yeah,
we know about the Button Man.
Yeah, right. And I just posted it, and fucking it it popped. It popped, and I was like, has anyone heard about this fucking thing too? And I just kept on doing them, and now it's like I'm just like I got about 200 DMs sitting that I haven't managed to read yet from people telling me their stories, and they're like, "You need to share this story.
Crazy.
Tell me if this has happened to anyone." Like, and there's heaps of different things from hunters that are seeing weird shit out there. Truck drivers around Australia going, "Hey, I've fucking seen this." Like, it's everywhere, and it's so cool. It's fun to do.
So because I'm from South Australia, you both are from Victoria. So I'd only heard little bits about the Buttman when I hunted in Victoria from certain people. I had no clue who he was. Give us a brief rundown on who this mysterious figure is.
So these days, it's like the stories have been blown out a little bit about him. Right. And they've sort of, I won't do any stories on the Button Man anymore. But I suppose before social media was a thing, no one could really like identify who this fella was. And like, I always relate to him as a bit of a jovial prankster. He'll come and he'll fuck around with you. But there's a lot of accounts out there of scary shit happening in your campsites as well. And he's this fella that just does not like the modern age of living. So he'll head out to the high country, and he's out there for about 6 months at a time, and he kicks it. He hunts out there, and he makes buttons out of deer antlers that he kills. And he's known for going into people's campsites, helping himself to a bit of tucker, a beer if he needs to, and he'll usually play a bit of a hey.
And what else does he do? He takes their phones. He takes their phones, and he'll leave a photo on their phones. And he's an absolute legend. Like
every now and again, So every now and again, he'll take your phone and snap a photo of you asleep. He pretty much he's just a well-trained hunter. Pretty much to the point where he's letting you know, I'm here, but you don't know I'm here.
But you don't know it. Yeah.
See, that's the stories I heard. People waking up in the morning and their cameras having photos of them asleep in their swag or their tent or whatever.
Well, that story's made its way to the States. Like, people in America report on that story, and they always get it wrong. And I'll be watching these stories, and I'm like, no, that's fucking hell. I'm like, come over here. I'll tell you what the go is. But I suppose the issue now is, you know, I've been reached out to by Netflix documentary crews that have wanted me on to do stories on him. I've been reached out to by Channel 7 and Channel 9 News because of this one Buttman video, and I always knock it back because the way they want to frame it is this monster in the bush. And I sit back and I go, no, if you want to talk about monsters, it's actually the ones in the concrete jungles. It ain't the one in the actual jungle. It ain't the one in the bush.
Behind the cameras.
But, you know, I would say don't, like, if you see him, let him approach you and have a chat. Don't go pestering the fella. If you see him in town in Mansfield, you know, he's selling some of these buttons, go snag one, because I'd absolutely love one. He does sell them in town. But aside from that,
hospital.
Yeah. So I've someone reached out to me who actually lets him stay at their property. And I won't go too much into it, but he's a good guy, misunderstood guy, loves to creep people out, though. I will say that. Like, he gets a kick out of it.
That's a legendary aspect of it. Like, that's just iconic to me. Like,
well, that's what my whole content's based on. I've frothed that. I'm so here for it. He was the original. One to be spooking people in the bush.
That's amazing.
That was the video that went out there.
But then the murders happened, and then. And people tied him into that, and it's like, no, that's not the Button Man. No, that's, you know, it's just, it was bad.
It's funny though, isn't it, as well, where you see like people will paint out this picture that the the biggest monsters are the ones that are a little bit different, you know, hiding out in the bush, but really the cold-blooded killer. The monster was a well-respected pilot that everyone would thank every flight they got on, who was just a upstanding person of society who, you know, ended up getting into a bit of a disagreement.
I'd much rather come across the Button Man than a politician in the bush.
Don't trust a politician. They're all lying. No, they all lie. They all lie. Don't trust any of
At
them.
least the button man, all he's going to do is just take a photo on your phone and just have a laugh at your ignorance that he's been around. You know, these people are trying to like depopulate the earth. So, which one's the more evil?
Exactly. Marcus, what's some of the... we won't get you to go into stories yet, but what's some of the crazy things that people have encountered in the Australian bush? Just like, you know, whether it's like alien sightings, whether it's Black Panther sightings, stuff like that. What are people seeing in the Australian bush?
I think one of my favourite types of stories that I will get sent, and I know a lot of people expect ghost stories and, you know, serial killers out there. I absolutely love stories because it's primal fear of when hunters end up getting hunted by other creatures out there, you know. And I did a video that it was quite a good one because it did educate people on how dangerous wild dogs can actually be in the wild. Now, people don't realise how many wild dogs and feral dogs we have in Australia, but if they are in a pack, and you can probably attest to this, Zach, but if they're in a pack, they can get pretty dangerous.
Yeah, I haven't seen a wild dog.
Stories like that.
I haven't seen a wild dog yet.
Yeah, come down here, mate.
Wild dogs are like pigs for me. Whenever I show up, they disappear. For anyone that's been following along the, you know, my hunting, you know, whenever I go up to New South Wales to go shoot a pig, they're never around. And same as when I go to Vic, I never see a dog. So I'll get there one day. But
under Ilden, you can hear them howling at night.
I still haven't even heard one out of the bush, which is crazy. They just disappear. No, they know the cat man's around. You know, I went viral for shooting a couple of cats. Imagine when I shoot a couple of wild dogs.
You might be their like icon. Like you might be like they might bow down to you because of what you did with the cats.
What is it? Fucking from Shark Tale, the Shark Slayer. He's the cat slayer.
Yeah, he's the cat slayer.
Well, there's another word that's been used, but I won't say that.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I want to know.
You know, stories like that, they're always great because it puts you in, you know, it puts you in absolute fear. And these are things that people don't really question. A lot of people will question the validity of stories. I always go in with the mindset of I enjoy it more just believing it and, you know, have fun with it. But you've always got that old fella who's just jumped on the app and he's like, that didn't happen. That's not true. And I'm always just sitting back going, how the fuck do you know that what this person is saying isn't true? Think about how much of Australia is unmapped, how much of the world's unmapped. You don't know. You don't know, but you also hear a lot. You hear a lot about cult encounters out in the bush as well, which are always fucking insane to hear. Which I believe there's fucking have a look at the world we live in right now. Have a look, like, I sit back, look at all the different religions, look at all the different types of people, all the different groups they associate with. You hear a lot of stuff, and one area that I always go four-wheel driving through is Dissa, Mount Disappointment. Never ever heard a thing or seen a thing out there myself, but the amount of people that say there is a cult up at Dissa, and I haven't made a video on it because I go up there a lot. I've never seen it, but so many people swear by it that there is something out there.
We need to go scope it out because I'll be able to find it. I can 100% guarantee it. Like cults, I'm just so into cults these days because there's just...
You're kind of their leader, aren't you?
I basically am, yeah.
You're the one around the fire burning shit.
No, but they hate me. Like, it's like I'm their, like, the evil overlord.
That they don't like people with a free mind who speak their mind, and that's very much you, Carly.
But did you hear about even the Nazi group that was at the cathedrals in Tagati? Like, there was literal Nazis in the caves doing their chanting and their weird cult stuff. in
100%.
at the cathedral ranges. Like,
Crazy.
I keep saying it's the end of days. It's the end of days, and there's weird shit going on. Like,
this is the apocalypse, but it's just it's not as fun, and it's very slow, and I wish the zombies and everything had come out, because at least then it would be fun.
Yeah, 100%. I'm all for zombies.
The zombies are out. It's society. The society are the zombies.
They're just boring zombies.
We're all the zombies right now.
they're just called Labour voters. I'm going to get in trouble for that.
No, you're good. You're good. Carly, for people that don't know who you are, what was your start into all of this? You know, we touched on it briefly. And what have you been doing this past year?
So I just I've lived in Ilden my entire life. I love my town, and I heard some community engagement thing that was happening in the town over, which is 20 k's away, Alexandra, about some new national park that was starting, and I was like, that doesn't sound right. Like, it's weird. And so I went to this consultation meeting, and it was just like a complete sham. People were just standing there lying. They wouldn't answer questions. It was cult-like, honestly. And and I just got angry. So I started a Facebook group, and I meant it to be, you know, like our local area. Like, I was going to call it Murrindindi Residents Against the Great Forest National Park. But I was like, that sounds really, really lame. So I'll just do Victorians. And then it was like, the next day I woke up and it was like 1,000 people trying to join this group out of nowhere. And it was like, it went on for like 10 days of just thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And it got up to like 10,000. And I was like, wow. So I've done something here, and I don't know what it is. And I really need to start to try and work out what I've done. And so just been advocating and fighting and meeting with politicians and doing email campaigns about things and getting everyone in the group to send things out and blowing up politicians' inboxes. And then we had the petition for no new national parks in Victoria, got over 40,000, which was the biggest in Victorian history since the suffragettes in the 1890s. And so we just had that debated. It went really well. I was in Parliament last week, that I was at a protest, and kind of just, I'm not a bush user. I never was a bush user. I grew up camping with my family, but that's about it. And I just saw injustice happening and something that was going to affect my town because of being surrounded by bush, and it's not being managed properly, and it hasn't been for a long time. And locking that up as a national park is a massive fire hazard. And I went through Black Saturday and witnessed a lot of stuff. My dad was on the Marysville Oval when the flashover happened, and I just basically said to myself that, like, if I can do anything to stop that from ever happening again to that extreme, I don't know that it was weather, I know that it was all these things, but you know, if we're not doing fuel reduction burns, and if we're not managing the bush properly, we're setting ourselves up for another Black Saturday, and I refuse to allow that to happen. So all of a sudden I'm into bush management and outdoor recreation and sticking up for all these people that I had no idea that existed. And so there's like 24,500 people in the group now.
It's amazing.
And it's just growing every day.
This is why I absolutely love you and love what you do, is that you've come from a background that, you know, you had nothing to gain from it, nothing really to lose from it, you know, apart from like tourists coming through your town. and you've been the loudest voice in Victoria and Australia for outdoor recreational users, and I think it's just fucking spectacular. Like, there's no other words.
I don't see it that way. Like, everyone, people do say things like that, and I'm like, no, I just run a Facebook group, and I do whatever I can to advocate in the right ways and stuff, and I don't see myself as being some like amazing person who's done all this stuff. It's like I don't like injustice.
Well, you are. You've come to see what the hunting and shooting community and, you know, other outdoor recreational, you know, communities are like, and the infighting that goes on, and the tall poppy syndrome cutting people down. You know, like, you know, our mutual friend Kate. You know, there's the constant shitstorm that follows Kate. Like, it's just insane.
And what happened to me after that video I made?
Yeah, threats of lawsuits and all sorts. And here's me sticking up, and, you know, these people, because I'm that in between. You know, they all follow me, and, you know, I don't follow any of them anymore. But
they tried. They wanted me investigated by the police and reported me to the e-safety Karen because I called them a wanker.
But yeah, you know, Kate just copped so much hate in this past. Kate's always copped a lot of hate, which I've never understood, because, again, she's an amazing advocate for the shooting firearm community. You know, she's very pro firearms, and that is amazing to see. And, you know, I could see what you two are very much like. And that's why I've hooked you two up together, because I knew you and Kate would get along very, very well. And yeah, just
now I just want to move to the US.
Yeah. Seeing everything that Kate's doing over there is just amazing, and the fact that she's still advocating for Australians' rights.
Yes, despite what certain media personalities and losers behind a Facebook group and page will say, because none of their opinions should be taken seriously in any sense of, you know, they're literally unhinged.
Yeah.
Unhinged individuals.
100%. So, moving on, Marcus, Great Northern. What happened there?
I made the greatest video ever for the media. So look, they came out with their campaign, which was Outdoors for a Cause, where they were going to buy private land, turn it into more national park. Now, right off the rip, Great Northern, majority of their audience are outdoor enthusiasts. They are hunters, fishers, campers. That's literally what they advertise, you know, their brand over. And a lot of us, we had a big pushback against that idea. Now, you know, obviously with everything that's going on in Victoria, with the way our national parks are being treated, a lot of us are fed up with it. Coming off of the fire season we did, where, you know, the Grampians and Little Desert absolutely got incinerated. We lost so much. Both national parks, and we lost so much wildlife out there, so much trees. And the reasoning is because in our state, and it's starting to get seen in New South as well now, they've got a lock it and leave it mentality with national parks, which is, you know, lock it up, it's protected now, and no one gets in there. So there is absolutely no fuel reduction going on in these areas. No one can touch them, and they essentially become big tinder boxes. That's what we're seeing. And, you know, there's so much evidence behind that. The issue is, though, you know, opposing parties saw this as the absolute go-to push to bring in politics behind it. And it was the perfect storm for them to grip this and go, these people hate the bush. They do not like conservation.
Yep.
They want to, you know, just go take their four-wheel drives through it, absolutely thrash it. They just want to go shoot animals. And it's not the case at all. It never was the case. We probably care more about the bush,
100%.
which is why we sit back and go, no, state forests are getting managed a lot better. And I can openly say right now, I have no issue with national parks. I love state forests, and I don't have an issue with national parks if, and there's a big if, they're getting managed differently. The issue is management. It's always been management. But I came in red hot and I made a cracking video. For whatever reason, I was feeling pretty spicy that day. So I came out with a baseball bat and absolutely gave it a fucking Babe Ruth and slaughtered this can. I think because I've got a bit of a following moving as well, like a small following, but a following nevertheless. The media ate it up. And then I think within 24 hours, I'm sitting down watching the footy and I see on Channel 7 News my face pouring a Great Northern down the sink and I'm like, oh, fuck. And then I look on Facebook and there's me slogging this can and I'm like, yeah, all right, we've done something. Okay, this is a bit wild. And then I got about 2,000 death threats from people going, you fucking hate the bush, this and that. And I'm sitting back going, no, you don't get it. Like, I don't have an issue with national parks. I have an issue with how this is being maintained, and I have an issue with a brand essentially going against their consumers. You can't, take Great Northern and put that money towards helping fight fires on the national parks that are burning. How good would that have been? That would have been incredible. Help the families and the towns that are affected by these bushfires. Again, I would get behind that wholeheartedly. But instead, you know what? More to the point, take the money and put those resources into managing national parks better. Don't buy more of something that you've got no control over of already.
Yep.
Take the money and start forking it into some national parks and help them get maintained better and, start educating people on how the difference between state forests and national parks are run. Take the goods from national parks, take the goods from state forests, remove the bad from both of them. Everyone's happy. But
100%.
Again, and this is why I always say, do not trust a politician, do not trust any political party, because they're all full of shit. There is no party, Labor or Liberal, that care about you. The power needs to go back to the people. So I slugged this Great Northern can, something good. Had a huge divide. It was a good learning experience for me, though. It was, because I can sort of now frame my thoughts and how I want to bring people together in my content.
Yeah.
I used to be a bit more divisive in what I wanted, because I would sit back and think there is one side to stick to. But it was a good learning opportunity to, actually educate people and say, in a sense, this is the issue that we're facing, but there's ways to do that. And it's through educating people, but it's also through listening to other parties as well.
Yeah.
Both sides have got benefits that they can bring to the table. And I think that was the best thing about it. I lost fucking 3 sponsors from this stunt. I was a bit of hot property at that point. And I can put my hands up and go, you know what, I probably shot a bit early, but I'm glad I did, because it got the conversations moving and it got the conversation out there for people that, may have not been aware of what is actually happening. A lot of people don't even know the difference between a national park and a state forest. They don't know the regulations between it.
Yeah.
So I think it brought it into the mainstream light, which was fantastic.
It 100% did, and it was massive for my cause, because I was able to, really, I did try and attack back, and I had a few people come after me because I went after Dee Madigan on when she went on Sunrise, but I did grab onto your coattails on that one, and I'm sorry, I threw you to the wolves, but no, it really did. It was really helpful for the cause to show people the difference between national parks and state forests and the way that they're not managed. And the funny thing is, like you say about how you had death threats about people saying, you hate the bush. Like I get all that stuff all the time from greenies, but I actually went and met with a greenie, right? Full blown greenie. Well into the whole seams of things in Victoria. Obviously can't say who it is because they'll get destroyed, but we wanted the same things. Me and her sat down, and we agreed on everything to do with the management of the bush.
I'm genuinely not surprised, Carly, about that whatsoever. I'm really not surprised about that.
And I was
Neither am I.
guys, like I spent 3 hours with her sitting there talking, and we did not find anything that we disagreed on. So the fact that we're fighting amongst each other's bush users and conservation groups, greenies, when we should be fighting the government, who they're the ones that are letting us down, and they're not taking care of what they're supposed to. They're not doing what they should be doing with the money that they've got, and they're bad. They're doing evil things behind closed doors, and we're fighting against and amongst each other when we should be uniting and fighting the people that we should be fighting, which is the government.
I had a good analogy for this, right? I've made a video where I was stating that, my four-wheel drive, it's busted. The left-hand side of my four-wheel drive, it's stuck and it's moving too far left. I can't shift it. And the right-hand side of my four-wheel drive is facing too far right, and it's fucked. I can't move it. When both sides of those wheels are both facing too far left and too far right, the car's not moving. The car can't drive. What needs to happen is both sides need to be facing the same direction to get it moving. And someone commented on that video and said, all right, well, if that is the case and we're just talking about four-wheel drives here, how do you get both sides to face forward? And I said, well, the first thing I would do is take it to a mechanic, take it to the people that claim to know, take it up higher. Right? Mm-hmm. If we're all driving around in these cars that are fucking busted, take it to the mechanic, which in our sense would be the politicians, the government, and start asking the questions. The issue is that you have a culture war that divide both sides. You're never going to be able to sit down with each other to say, hey, let's start pointing the finger here, here, and here. And it's the best, it's the magician's best secret is to make you watch this hand instead of the one that's actually doing the tricking.
Exactly. But the thing is, we lost the left or right. So we don't have a center anymore. So in your analogy, we've got all our tires facing left. The Liberal Party are no longer conservative. They are just as left as Labor. Like, I'm sorry, they are. We don't have a center. We have a right. We don't have a center right.
And that's exactly, Carly. Like that's literally it. And the truth is, and this is just my thoughts though, the way the politicians make their moves and make their plans, it's based on winning elections and 100%. Staying in power for as long as they can to line their pockets. So if you want a shift to go more centered, where everyone is happy, it needs to happen boots on the ground amongst the people, because the power is with the people. So while they've got this divide, whichever way that levy tilts to is the way that the politicians are going to frame their cause of what they actually care about.
100%. And that's my main goal is to, and everyone calls it the silent majority. I want it to be the loud majority. I want everyone to get loud and start actually advocating for what they want. Even if it's just sending an email every now and then to a politician saying, I don't agree with this or something. We've got to stop being silent, and we have to actually speak up and show these people that, because the ones that are screaming for these far left things, they're the, I call them screaming banshees, because they are. They're the ones out there protesting, causing a scene. They're totally, they're not speaking for the majority of Australians. They're speaking for a small minority, but because they're so loud, the politicians think that that's the majority, and that's what they need to do to win elections, is to go with these people. And it's like, no, that's not what the people of Australia want. So that's why I'm so passionate about uniting people and groups now to make a bigger voice. And that's why, like, I've joined like the IRU and everything. And I'm so focused on getting everyone to fight each other's battles together, because the people are the voice, but we haven't had a voice because we've just thought everything's been okay. And we've trusted that the government's, been doing the right things. And then you look back on the last 20, 30 years and you're like, holy crap, we dropped the ball.
100%.
We dropped the ball bad.
100%. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. And we'll touch on the ARU shortly, but there's a few things that I'll jump in with. So when you said that you and this greenie person that you caught up with, Carly, had more in common than you thought you would, that's something that I've been saying on this podcast for a long time. The majority of vegans, anti-hunters, hunters, campers, full drivers, fishers, that would just be able to meet in the middle in everyday society and have a decent conversation, but it's just because it's blown up through social media that we don't. I've reached out to a prominent Victorian greenie a couple times to try and get her on the podcast, but haven't heard anything back, because I would just love to sit there and not have a fight, but just to have a good chat to her. And I'm pretty sure you both know who I'm talking about. It would just be interesting to see what her mentality's like and what she is like on a down to like a person to person level without fighting, and just see why she has the views that she has. And, I hate a lot of this.
They're not capable of doing it. This is the thing.
I have faith.
You get these.
I have faith.
You keep your faith, because I've done it, and I've been there, and I've dealt with all these greenies and these, the whatever is going on in Australia with the left at the moment, and they will not actually have an actual conversation with you. They will just sit there, call you a racist, or call you all the homophobic, transphobic, something like that. They bring out all these words like fascist and Nazism.
Misogynist and...
Have a look at my Grey Northern thing. The first time I hit it, they said, go woke, go broke. He's against wokeisms. And I'm sitting there going, I couldn't care how people identify themselves. Yeah. I genuinely, if you are happy, I'm happy for you. I would never change that view. I do not care if you use pronouns. I do not care your culture, your background, your sexuality, your gender. I don't care, but they use it and weaponize it. And I'm like, no, I've always preached a bit of love on my channel. That's a crock of shit, but they have to weaponize. They have to.
As soon as you start hearing the phobes and the isms, you're in a debate with a lefty and you're not getting anywhere.
And then, touching back to the Great Northern thing, was it Simon Christie? Was he one of the first people to put a video out before Marcus put a video?
He was the shit stirrer in it. He started it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought he started it.
He started it, and he did it. He started it because of my group, and so that's where I was like, oh, Marcus is like collateral damage. I'm so sorry. Like,
I love how this all ties in. It's amazing.
Mate, Simon lit the fuse, and then they're like,
yeah.
He didn't make a video. We need a video. We need something here. And
they went straight for you.
And Marcus was the cannonball.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's amazing how well this all ties in together. And Simon is a future guest on the podcast. Once he's a busy man. He's hard to get locked down into, get him down for an hour or so. He'd be one that I'd love to podcast in person with, but yeah, I'll just have to settle with teams.
Simon's great. Simon is an absolute weapon.
He is a legend.
He is so good, Simon, and he's such a good voice for outdoor enthusiasts. And again, people just like to look for reasons to hate on Simon, but he just lives by the exact value we do. He does not give a shit who you are. If you are out in the bush, he's so happy to see you out there. And that's what that's what we all are.
He's got an amazing attitude, and I love how he brings the full drive and the hunting community together, even though that when he shares videos of him shooting guns and that, it pisses some people off. You see, why do we have guns? Why do you have that?
For the algorithm.
I know.
He just feeds it.
It's amazing to see, and you know, just showing that both of you guys know Simon. You know, I've chatted to Simon a couple times, and it just shows you that, you know, we're all from different backgrounds in the outdoor recreational scene. Well, some of us are, not Carly. But we're changing
Simon
that.
Simon was the one who brought me into this. Honestly, like if he hadn't have if I hadn't have met him in Druin in the first month that I started that group, this wouldn't have gone anywhere. And he just went out of his way, pulled up his truck, this like famous truck in front of me, and I'm sitting there in my ute like, oh my God, this is like some, you know, famous celebrity guy. Like, why would he want to talk to me? And he's just some down to earth guy. He's like, how you going? You know, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? And all this. And I'm like, us? What? and then like, and he's like the sweetest person. If I'm like going through something, he's the first person to reach out, and he's like, are you okay? And do you need to talk and everything? And I'm like, I'm not much of a talker, but you know, just knowing that someone's there so supportive as him, I can't speak higher of him and his whole team.
That's awesome. That's so good to hear. And that leads me to my next bit. You know, we're all from different backgrounds. We're all in this together. We're slowly working shit out and teaming up. That brings on the ARU, Australian Recreation Union. We've had Paddy from there on the podcast, and I mentioned that I'd be introducing you and him back on that podcast, and I've thrown you under the bus since then, and some amazing things have happened.
Well, it was actually your podcast, because Simon was trying to get me involved with the ARU for months before your podcast, and I was very I just, you know, the word union and stuff, it just, yeah, and I was so busy with what I was doing already, and I was just very hesitant. Then I watched your podcast with Paddy, and I was like, dude, that night I signed up. I reached out to him. I'm like, I'm in. And he's like, what? Like, and I'm like, I'm in. Let's do this. And yes, and it just, I don't know. I saw what he believed in and what he wanted to do with the ARU, and I'm like, that's exactly what I want to do, and that's exactly what I believe in. And it was through your podcast that I saw that. So you have, however it ends up, it's all on you.
That's all right. I'll take the blows.
If it burns, Zach, we're fucking blaming you. I'll tell you right now. If this goes to shit.
And if it goes really, really good, you're getting the credit. So it works both ways.
I'll have a Bundy if it goes good, and I'll have a Great Northern if it turns to shit.
Yeah. Well, you're basically drinking shit, so.
Sorry, Marcus. I should have left that until you finished your drink then.
Make it a traveller.
Definitely a traveller.
I got me Bundy rums here, so I'm not a massissive beer drinker anyway.
I don't drink.
You don't need it. You've got enough passion without.
Yeah, it's not good when I do drink. That's why I had to stop drinking, because I get really violent. I get really aggressive. So you can imagine what I'm like. This is what I'm like without alcohol. You can imagine what I'm like with alcohol. I was in like pub brawls, everything, like full on punch-ons with chicks. Dudes.
I'm just picturing Dukes of Hazzard where he straps on the helmet and jumps off the pool table. That's Carly.
It was exactly like that. Like it was pub crawls every weekend, and I was always coming out bruised and bashed, but I always came out on top.
As you are with all this national park stuff.
It was training. It was training for what I was going to be up against.
Oh, that's amazing. And more stuff on the moving from the ARU, but something that they were behind, something also I threw you under the bus with was Alex, the Wild Food Master. He was doing a Clean Up Australia Day in the New South Wales state forests, and
he's a legend.
I hooked you guys up after chatting to Alex and chatting to Troy. No, Troy? Yeah, Troy. Croaky, I can't remember how to pronounce his name, but he was also, an advocate for it, so it was awesome to see. I think Alex organised maybe 5 cleanups with Blood Origins Australia through New South Wales, and you jumped on and you organised a few. And Marcus, did you attend one as well?
He did one.
Amazing. That's so good. And the short notice that I threw you guys under.
I saw, like, because there is a backstory to that. So I did try and do one off my own back a few months before that. And there was a big storm the weekend that we were supposed to do it. And somebody actually was crushed by a tree at Kevington. And so it was I did make the right call by calling off the Clean Up Australia Day weekend there, which was very sad. But so I gave late notice. So, but by the time I did my first Clean Up Australia Day event, I had 2 people turn up. I drove all the way to Woods Point, had 2 people turn up, and it was so defeating and deflating. And I'm like, what is the actual point? But we made a good day of it. We had fun at Woods Point and everything. And so then when you introduced me to Alex, I was like, I could hear his tone. He was reluctant because he'd had the same response.
Yep. And
I was like, dude, we've got to find a way to get people active, get people actually involved in this. And we actually ended up making it a huge success, and it was like nothing like the first one. So, and I just remember one of his messages that he was just so happy that it worked out, and that it just warmed my heart, because I was so proud to be a part of something like that. And so we ended up, making it like Victoria and New South Wales, big, widespread group events. And Marcus jumped in and had his own group. And,
so good. What did you guys have? About 10-ish people at each one across 5 different cleanups?
Yeah. And we got rid of an enormous amount of rubbish, but it was also good to get to know everyone and to see who would come out. Like, I had people I did one at Big River, which is, in the Central Highlands. So, and it's about an hour away from Eildon. And I had a couple drive from Phillip Island and stayed overnight at Big River to join me for the Big River cleanup. And that was it just meant the world to me. It really did.
That's amazing.
We had so many kids as well on our cleanup site running around, which was so cool. So cool. We just had some standard rear wheel drive sedans hucking it down these dirt roads. They were not stopping. They're like, we're gonna get this done. It was so awesome. And
we need to do another one.
And the thing is as well, with my involvement, Carly doesn't say this, but she doesn't usually ask. It's more of a, hey, Marcus, you're going to be putting this one on for me in the Macedon Ranges. So it's more of a just telling me, and I'm like, okay.
Yes, boss.
Got you, mate.
But you go with it, so it works.
There was more of a, hey, I need someone in the Ranges. Oh, yeah, who's that? Well, it's you, and make a video about it right now and get it out there. I'm like, okay.
Marcus, blink 3 times if you're scared and you need help.
Oh, you guys are so nasty.
No, it's good. I like that you can just be like, hey, fuck it, I need your hand here.
I don't know. I don't bullshit. I don't see the need for it. it's if I say something, I mean it.
That's why the three of us get along so well. But it's awesome to see, and it wasn't enough time for me to prepare one for this year. But next Clean Up Australia Day, looking at doing something down here with the duck hunters down here, and go clean up a wetland somewhere. Because duck hunters and duck hunting is constantly under threat here. So having a day, like Marcus said, a bunch of kids run around. Take my kids up there and they can run around and, help. And it was amazing to see Dog and Gun Coffee jump in. They sent you and Alex a care package, and you did some crazy miles running around coffee, and you put the word out, and people helped you to get the coffee to the different cleanup sites, which was just awesome to see.
It's such a great little community thing. Like, I love it. I think out of everything that I've learned in the last 12 months of doing all this is that I love bringing people together, and I love creating a community that can benefit each other. I think that's just what I'm about now, apparently.
You're getting all soppy, Carly.
I know. I'm sorry. Emotions.
It was awesome to see, and it was just awesome that, I was able to connect. I helped connect you two. I helped connect you and Alex. And just seeing it all come together, and all the different, gears in motion, just creating this massive outdoor recreation community. And I've got some high hopes for good things happening over the next few years, and bringing more people from different sides of the outdoor recreation community in, whether it's rock climbing, motorbike riding, full driving, and
or none at all.
Or not from anything. But we are changing that. I said for your goal this year, and same to you, Marcus, getting firearms licenses. That's what definitely. I want to see both of you get to.
But that just gives the greenies something else to go me about. Like, they'll be trying to get that taken off me like crazy.
That's okay.
I have no idea.
Go shoot some deer, eat some fresh venison, and...
I had venison at the Big Hound Hunters big show day, their microchipping day. Oh my God, that is the best meat. Like,
old venison is a crowd favorite. To make some venison sliders or something in a slow cooker. Woo!
I need to get some more venison.
Yeah, I did some pulled venison the other day at work. I actually had a fella from Maine reach out to me just after I got back from New Zealand, so about 2 years ago. He's like, it's been my dream to come to Australia. I've got friends in Melbourne and I want to visit Adelaide. And, I was searching up hunting in South Australia, and I just kept seeing your name come up. He's like, so I thought I'd reach out and ask what I could do. And, 2 years of planning, and we finally got him down here, and I took him out, and we did some spotlighting, and we got him his first deer, and
awesome.
Sent him home with a casty, and he was just absolutely blown away. And I'm like, yep, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
And then
I've just filled out the form for myself. Sorry, Carly. I've just filled out the form for my long range. I'm ready to go.
I would totally see, this is where I'm conflicted, right? Because I still don't like hurting animals, and I don't mean that you guys hurt animals. I don't mean that at all. Like, I'm really conflicted about it, because I am a massive animal lover, and but I also agree that it is a basic human right to be able to go and collect your own meat, and do all those things. It's so I see that as injustice, as if they're stopping you from hunting. So, but I still can't, I could see myself going to a gun range or something like that. I would love that. I would do that. But I still can't see myself killing something. I cry when I hit a wombat.
It's hard. It's different. It's a lot of emotions. But I think if you get your firearms license, you hit the range a bit. I think once you start hitting bush a bit more, you'll get more curious with it. There's so many amazing women hunters out there at the moment, and amazing role models for the hunting community, and women in the hunting community. There's a.
Can I just pretend? Can I? Can I be that? Can I be a pretend hunter?
We'll just give you a Nerf gun.
Yeah. And well, I would look. I love the thought of having a gun. Like I want to shoot guns. I want to do all that, but I'm a sook. I ran over a turtle once and I bawled my eyes out. Like
it's different, because when you accidentally take something's life that you're not meaning to, it is emotional. But taking something's life that you're setting out, you've got a goal, it can be emotional. You will probably cry, but it's also like once you put everything you've learnt into it, you've learnt how to stalk, you've learnt how to, shoot, and it all comes together. It's also a success. But it's not for everyone. So you might try it and you might not like it. That's fine.
See, I'm one of those weirdos that like I can watch horror movies, I can watch true crime, all about people getting limbs. Like I'm a big sicko, love all that gory stuff about humans. You put an animal in front of me and that happens, oh my god, I fall to pieces. I can't handle it.
That's where you start small. We get you started on quail or
humans,
duck or rabbits. It's.
I still cry when I hit a rabbit.
Yeah, but the difference is you unintentionally hit it versus you're actually going out there for a purpose to take it. But you take it, you might get emotional, but then you take it home, you do like a rabbit cacciatore, or you do some Kentucky Fried Rabbit popcorn bites. It's we'll get you there. We'll get you there.
I might have to take home some leaves and stuff. Like I could never be a veggie, but I just really.
I was going to be eating all the fucking berries out there.
The OG berry picker. But
I'm a weird one.
That's fine. We need it in this community. So, but I'll hook you up with some amazing female hunters that are doing absolutely amazing things in the outdoor recreation scene. I'm not sure if you've seen Kads, Kajia. I can't pronounce that last name, but Kads.hunts or huntress. She is freaking just amazing. She is the kindest person. She's actually going out and doing like women like range days for people to come and try it, and she's a proud Muslim woman, and she's just doing absolutely amazing stuff, bringing people from all backgrounds into the hunting shooting community. And yeah, she just does amazing stuff. So I actually have to hook you and her up. She's up in Sydney.
I totally get it, and I'll always fight for your right.
The shooting side of stuff will get you in.
Yeah, but I'll always fight for that right. But yeah, I just can't see myself ever doing it.
We'll test it.
Prove me wrong.
I'm stubborn.
Sound bite that, and let's do it 12 months time.
Sounds like a plan. We'll Sounds like a plan.
I did say I was never dealing with politics 12 months ago. So
less than. You're definitely on less than 12 months ago. So it's a lot's changed since then. Marcus, what's a good story you've got lined up?
So I've had a few stories come through in the last month and a half. They're bloody awesome, right? Because a lot of the stories that are coming through now, they're actually going back to a lot of First Nations culture and a lot of the history in Australia, which I've fallen in love with it. I've absolutely fallen in love with it. There's so many Dreamtime stories out there. There's so many stories from our First Nations Aussies where the deeper you dive, like the lore behind some of these creatures, the mystery behind it, I love it. Like I absolutely get sucked in. I live for this stuff. But one of the stories I think that stood out to me the most was it was in Victoria, and there were 8 mates in Victoria, and they lived out in a pretty rural town. This happened about 8 years ago. They lived out in a pretty rural town.
This isn't around Eildon, is it?
So it's based in a town called Eildon. And,
damn it!
No, they lived.
You want me to go out hunting?
Town, right? yeah, right. But no, so they lived in this rural town, and so as kids do when they were 17 at the time, and as kids do, you just look for anything that you can have fun with out in these towns. All right, there's no movie theaters or anything like that. So what do? You go adventure, and they had this old construction site off in a field that was untouched for quite some time. The construction stalled on it, and this huge site was still there. But to get to the construction site, all of the grass and the land around it had just completely overgrown. So the 8 of these mates, 7 or 8 of these mates, they all started making their way down to this construction site. So they had to press down all of the overgrown grass and essentially cut their way towards the construction site. So they've made their way into the construction site, and they've entered, and they've messed around in there as kids do. You're running around, you're freaking jumping up the ladders and stuff like that, just fucking around. They're in this site for about 2 hours, and as they've turned around, they've left the construction site to head back to the entrance where they came from. And at this point, the grass where they entered from had all been pressed down. They had a clear line into the site and a clear line out of the site through the overgrown grass. And as they're staring down at the entrance to this grass to get back to the main road, they see a brown snake that had been crushed on the head, and it's just sitting perfectly still on the top of this grass, sat there. And this snake is just still bleeding, and they're all looking at each other at this point with their phones out, going, "What the hell is this? Did we step on a snake while we were coming out here?" But all of them knew right away this snake has been stomped hard. This wasn't an accident. This snake had been stomped hard, and he reckons that he could just hear these bells ringing off in the distance. And as he's panned his camera around, there's this naked person sitting in a tree, death staring all of them. These 7 kids freak the fuck out, leg it over the snake, straight through the bush, out of there. And he said for the next 2 years, he just kept on having nightmares of seeing this fucking weird naked person, this person in the tree staring at him. He's now 19 years old, and he's in the Australian military. And one night, they're away for the weekend doing some training drills and everything. So they're camping out in the bush, and he reckons he woke up around like 12, 1 o'clock at night, and he's gone out to take a slash. So he's walked away from the campsite, and he's gone out to take a slash. And as he's doing his business on the tree, again, he hears the bells ringing, these jingle bells ringing. And he dead set says that he's turned around, and about 50 meters away from him in a tree, he can spot this exact same person, this same thing, fucking staring directly in his eyes. He's sprinted back to his campsite, and he stayed awake the entire night, not able to sleep. And this fella has said, "Mate, this thing is haunting me. I see this thing in my dreams all the time. I hear these bells off in the distance." And right away, my mind is going, that is 100% like a story from our First Nations Australians. There is some lore behind that. I don't know what it is. But he sent me that story and said, "I need you to tell this because I need to know if someone else has experienced what the fuck I'm experiencing."
That's crazy.
Dude. What? Don't be so good at telling those stories, because I'm freaked out right now.
That was one that I was like, whoa.
Can we please get every time you tell one of these stories and just have a reaction of Carly's face? Yeah. I could not concentrate very well. I was just watching Carly's facial expressions. I got some photos which she'll hate me for getting, but I had to take some sneaky photos there of the faces that she was pulling as you were telling that story, because it just had me in hysterics. She was so invested.
That was one of those stories, and I made it nice and short, but that was one of those stories where I was like, holy fuck. And I'll be on it, without getting too soppy with it, that's sort of how I realised I can bring people together in the great outdoors through telling these stories. It is such a good way to bring people to bring people together. You dive into so many different cultures, different laws of the land. You talk to so many different types of people, and they've all got stories, and everyone likes sharing them, hearing them. And that's something that I've really found brings a lot of community together, and that's sort of like my crux now of, getting people to learn about the great outdoors, because a lot of people are fucking weird and they want to go find this shit. They want to see this stuff for themselves. But yeah, it's just one of those ways that I think my channel is sort of, I guess, amalgamated now into something else. It's the fact that, I've always wanted to bring people together. That's what I thought I was doing through the four-wheel driving and the camping content. And I'll never lose that aspect of it. But to be the fucking bushman that is sharing these stories and learning these stories and learning all about different cultures, the different types of tales and stories from, all walks of Australia, I love it. I absolutely love it.
Nah, it's so bloody awesome to see, and you jump in the comments on your videos, and I'm outdoors nuts, but something we share in common. One of my favorite TV series, and I'm rewatching it right now, is Supernatural, and yeah, I see the tat. Look at Carly's face. She's like, "Why am I just discovering this now?" But you jump in the comments of your videos, and it's like hunters, fishers, Supernatural fans, and it's like, it's like Dean Gell 69, and
I know. How good is it? I love it. I do. I really do. I get so much enjoyment out of it.
Carly's face. She's absolutely blown away.
All the seasons of Supernatural. I love Supernatural.
That was my first tattoo. That was my first ever tattoo.
Carly's just blown away. She's shocked.
I got all the gins and all the things that come out of the big monsters in the trees, and they're cool. I love stuff like that. But I watch that because the people get hurt, like, because I'm a sicko in that sense. I like the gory stuff.
The movie The Purge.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Carly would purge. She wanted to purge. Like, she's a fucking purger.
100%.
If you hear that siren, you
fucking stay away from me. Yeah.
Well, I just got another notification saying we got about 15 minutes to go before Teams kicks us off. So we'll slowly wrap things up. Jump back to Marcus again, just because he's got another little interesting story. You said it to yourself that you were going to go ride a bull last year.
Yes.
What happened there?
Yes,
Idiot.
I've never jumped on an animal before or rode an animal, and I just really, last year, we've been to rodeos before, so many rodeos before, but last year I really started to fall in love with the sport and the idea of rodeo. And through social media, I ended up meeting a world champion bull rider, a stuntman named Lance. And so Lance did all the stunts for the Wolf Creek movies, for the Ned Kelly movie, Man from Snowy River, and he makes his own boots. He lived over in Texas for 20 years. He's made his own boots and everything. And I went there to, do a video for his boots, meet him and get myself a pair. And as I'm walking through this house, there's buckles everywhere and there's photos of this guy riding bulls. And I'm like, fuck, this is pretty cool. He's like, he must be really big in the rodeo scene. And we became very good friends. And one day we were having a coffee around Lance's table. Mind you, Lance is 70 now and he still rides bulls. But we're having a coffee and I said, Lance, I want to try my hand at riding a bull. And it was a throwaway comment and his eyes lit up and he looked at me and he went, all right, yep. And then literally the next day he called me and goes, we got to go to Brisbane. We got 2 weeks to do this, but we're going to enter you in the rodeo. This is the rodeo to do it.
Famous last words.
Yeah. So we had a weekend of learning how to ride a bull, learning about tying bull ropes and the sport of rodeo. And I flew up to Brisbane in October. I entered, so the first time I've ever been on an animal was in front of 4,000 people. I did a big event with my friend Sienna up there. We got heaps of people through the gate, but I I made it my word that I'm going to get on a bull. I got on a bull in front of 4,000 people. I fell off after about a second. As I hit the ground, my spine fractured, and then the bull stomped on me, landed on me pecker, crushed my leg. So I got up right away, got out of the arena, and my entire leg's numb. I'm bleeding from the member, and we ended up partying that night. I didn't realize my spine was fractured. I had bloody kids jumping on my shoulders, pretending to ride me for like competitions and stuff as my spine's fractured, buckling. But I loved it. I loved everything about it. I loved being behind the shoots. I loved the people back there. Don't get me wrong, starting in a scene like that is pretty intense. When you've got some eyes on you and social media, people think you're a flop right off the rip. So you just got to live with it, knuckle through it. And then I healed up, continued practicing on the drop barrels and everything for riding bulls. Drove 4 hours up to Mount Gambier on a Wednesday. This is a month ago. Got on my first bull, got flung off, landed right on my spine again, fractured it in 2 more places. So my spine's been fractured in 3 places in the last 6 months. But me and Lance drove 4 hours up, and the second I hit the ground, I knew my spine fractured again because my leg went numb. But I was like, no, there is no way we drove this far to only ride 1 bull. So then I got on another bull again with a fractured spine. Got launched off again. Said it was the most fun of my life. And we're now getting ready to buy some bulls ourselves and
Dude,
buck them and practice on them.
I've got some hardcore advice for you. All right, don't think Lance is much of a friend.
We have this saying, which is, if you're gonna be dumb, you got to be tough. And I've made it my mission. I've made it my goal to, even if it is just on a novice bull, hit an 8-second ride hit time. So I will be riding more bulls. I absolutely love it.
With Lance.
I'm not sure if you're dumber or tougher. Well, that's yet to be decided.
I hate the fact that I couldn't stop laughing that entire story.
Yeah, I could watch the tears running down your face.
When you've got to walk into an ambulance, like with a bungee in your hand, and the only person in there is a female nurse, and I have to say, I'm bleeding from this part, and I don't want to show you. And she just looks at me and goes, "Mate, I've seen it all." I'm like, okay.
Drops the pants, and I've never seen that.
I called my fiance, and I'm like, "Nikki, I had to show her. Like, I didn't know what was happening." It was a good one. It was a good one. You can see those videos on my channel if you want to see how banged up I actually did get.
Oh, those bruises after the first one were fucking insane.
Insane. It's just because it landed on me, because it springboarded off me. Oh.
Crazy stuff.
And it gets better from here, right?
100%.
The only bulls I deal with is delivering bullshit to the Premier's office these days. So it must have been one of yours.
Bloody hilarious. Well, I think we better wrap things up before it kicks us out. It's awesome having you guys on. It's been an absolute blast, and an hour and a half has just flown through. Marcus and I were chatting here for an hour and a half before you finally got on. But we had a whole podcast before that.
Don't make me use Teams, okay?
Just about how you fuck us around so much.
Hey, I'm difficult. You love me.
Hunting Connection podcast ghost tapes. We'll release it, and that's going to be us just slagging Carly off for a good hour.
The podcast before the podcast.
Yeah, she fucking yells all the time. She's such a mean lady. Like we suck.
If people have enjoyed what they've heard, where can they find you guys at, and how can they support you guys?
Go for it, Carly.
Oh God. So you can go and jump on my new podcast, the Forests and Freedoms podcast, on YouTube. You can find me yelling at people on Facebook in a group called Victorians Against the Great Forest National Park. And I think that's about it at the moment. I think I've outstretched myself a bit. So I'm kind of focusing on those two angles. But yeah, and I've got a new merch store that I've put together. You can support us and what we're doing with the Great Forest National Park fight by purchasing merchandise. It's the only way that we raise funds. We don't take donations. And your support would be appreciated. It's I don't even know what my website is anymore. I've been laughing too much.
There'll be links to it all.
Yeah, I'll link it. I'll give you the link.
And Marcus, where can they support you and find your stuff at?
I've got a few scam accounts on the move at the moment on socials. So on TikTok, if you go Oz Camper, I'm the account with 70,000 followers there. On Instagram, it's oz.camper or Marcus Sutherland, my name. That's the verified account with 28,000. Yep.
I had no idea.
Fuck, you're cooked. Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at oz.camper. YouTube is Oz Camper. I've just started using that now. And you can find our clothing brand, Bush Culture, at www.bushculture.com.au.
Amazing, guys. Thank you.
It was Marcus Francis.
You're cooked.
Just throw his alias under. I'll have to bleep that out. Just throw his alias out. Good one.
Fucking Carly. I like that Facebook page because no one annoys me.
Bleep it.
That's more editing for me. I have to go edit all this now. But
yeah, I had to do mine today, so
I don't edit my podcast. I don't know how. No, I just want to say thank you for you guys coming on. This has been a while in the making since I came up with the idea to do this episode, and we've had a couple of setbacks over the last couple of weeks, but your people are listening to this the morning after we recorded, so left it last minute, but bloody glad we did, because I just
say, surprisingly, I never slowed this down. Carly always says that I'm fucking shit. I never stopped this. I was fucking here both nights, ready to go, just putting it out there.
Well, we had
half
dramas,
to blame
okay?
for me too as well. So
yeah, and I have dramas, all right.
But I think we need to make this, a sixth monthly podcast or something. Joe Rogan has
more often than that.
Joe Rogan has the Protect My Parks podcast. I think this should be the No More National Parks podcast or something along those lines. I've done, he does the Fight Companion. I've done the Hunt Companion. So I think it's only fair to rip off another one of his his shows. Not? So
Carly could be the Brendan Schaub of this podcast.
I reckon she's more the Ari Shafir.
No one likes Brendan.
I already knew that from the way that you said it. Jesus.
I've never seen more joy in your eyes than hearing a bull stomped on me nutsack. Fuck off.
And we'll leave it there. Thanks everyone for listening, and I'll catch you later. So I just said goodbye to Carly and Marcus, but I wanted to jump back on and thank all of you guys for listening to the past 100 episodes. It's been an absolutely massive learning curve for me doing this. I've met some incredible people, and I'm so blessed from all the messages that I get from all of you guys supporting me. Some weeks are, it's just like, oh, do I stop doing podcasts, or, do I have a break? But, getting messages from you guys, seeing you guys out hunting and fishing and exploring and asking questions and recommending guests keeps the passion alive for me. So I just want to thank you all for that. I've met some amazing people through this podcast, like Marcus and Carly, and it's just been bloody awesome. And thank you all for listening and putting up with me. If you have any guest recommendations, send them through. If you have hunting photos, videos, stories, send them through. Even if you want to tell a story in a voice message over Instagram, send it through, and I'd be happy to play some on the back end of some podcasts. I reckon that would be fun to do. If you do enjoy the podcast, and I know a lot of you guys have, but head on Spotify or Apple, wherever you listen, drop a 5-star review. That helps builds it a little bit more. Share it around to your friends, your family, anyone that's interested in hunting, fishing, and the outdoors. I thought I would end out this podcast a little bit with a couple of AI songs that haven't been played on the podcast yet. I've made a couple of funny ones. One about Cody, which I reckon I'll play first for you guys. I think that it's a good laugh playing around with some of this AI music creating apps. And then I've also got, when I can find them, one that I've shared on social media before about losing my keys up at Cody's after shooting my big red stag. So if you guys want to stick around and have a good laugh listening to those, I'll play them out at the end of this episode. And if you want me to create more silly bloody songs, send them through and let me know what you'd like to hear. And that's it. Just a big thank you once again for listening and putting up with my learning curves and everything else along the way with this podcast. So first up, here is the Cody Gearon song.
It's a late night, my time, the setup's just right. There's a man with headphones too tight. Oh no, his mic's too bright. He's there with no one to share, trying to get guest spots from anywhere he can. Sending emails in the dead of the night. The podcast game, it's never the same. He bounces between shows just to get some fame. From Hunting Connection to Send It Mate, he's on every show like it's his fate. You don't have to be a prostitute. No, 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 no. You can say no to being a pothole, a guest on every show. You don't have to be a prostitute. No, 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 no. You can say no to bouncing around on every podcast in town. Hunting Republic, Campfire 2, he's on Australian hunting and beyond. What's new? Chasing clout, he's always about. But Cody Gearon, you can live without.
So that's a snippet of the Cody Gearon song that I wrote up on one of their AI apps, and it's a bloody good laugh, and you'd recognize a few of the other podcasts that he's been on in that song. Next up is Lost My Keys, which is throwback to the end of March, start of April, to where I lost my car keys up at Cody's just after I shot my big red stag, and Hey Dog had to come up and save the day. So this one I think is a banger, and I've heard it is. So eventually I'll work out how to post it on Spotify as a song for you guys to add to your playlists.
It's Zach, man. Cody, Gary, we got a problem. I just dropped a monster stag, biggest one I ever had, but now I can't find my keys and I think I'm going mad. Oh, I lost my keys. I swear they were right here with me. Cody, Gary, help me, please. Now we stranded in the trees. Okay, hold up, back it up, let me paint this scene. Up in the hills, red stag looking like a dream. Boom, one shot, man, it dropped so clean, but now my keys? Nowhere to be seen. Check my pack, check my vest, check the ground, check the deer, check my truck. Nope, they ain't nowhere near. Cody's laughing, Gary's crying, I'm about to shed a tear, cause we 14 hours deep in the middle of nowhere here. We retraced every step, man, this hunt was blessed. But now we stuck, no keys, just stress. Called up Hey Dog, said, bro, I need a hand. He said, 14-hour drive? Damn, man. Oh, I lost my keys. I swear they were right here with me. Cody, Gary, help me, please. Now we stranded in the trees. So now we chilling in the truck, burning daylight. Watching Hey Dog, speeding through the late night. Man's a legend, never said that's a long ride. Just grabbed my spares, jumped in, straight drive. Meanwhile, we eating deer meat, trying to stay sane. Cody saying, bruh, you should tie him to a chain. Gary got a flashlight, looking once again, but them keys gone, like my luck, straight up MIA. Yo, 14 hours later, here come Hey Dog, rolling up fast, tires kicking up fog. Tossed me the keys, said, bro, next time be smart. I said, bet, but you know I won't learn, it's just art. Oh, I lost my keys. I swear they were right here with me. Cody, Gary, help me, please. Now we're stranded in the trees. Moral of the story, don't lose your keys, or you'll have your boy driving cross country for free. Shout out to Hey Dog, real MVP. But next time, man, I'm bringing 3. Yo, I'm out, vroom, vroom.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of Hunting Connection Podcast. We hope you've enjoyed our discussions and gained valuable insights into the world of hunting, fishing, and the outdoors. To stay connected with us and never miss out on an update, please be sure to follow us on social media, all at Hunting Connection Podcast. We appreciate your support and would love for you to share the podcast with your friends and family. Don't forget to tag us in your hunting photos on social media and let us know about your experiences. Your feedback is invaluable to us, so please take a moment to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Together, we continue growing and delivering more captivating episodes for all hunting enthusiasts. Stay connected, stay informed, and keep pursuing your passion for the hunt. Until next time, happy hunting.